If the biggest driver of stress comes from balancing schoolwork and extracurricular activities, then you are not alone. A survey from the APA found that 83% of teens identified school as a significant source of stress. And this includes the stress that comes from this kind of balancing act, keeping up with your grades, joining clubs that might look good for colleges, and simply having some time to enjoy for yourself. Today, we're going to look at some often overlooked strategies to balance your schedule that any student can use no matter how busy you are. We're also going to look at some of the mistakes that I made while I was in high school, so hopefully you can avoid them. Now, you may be in a couple of different buckets. You may be in this bucket number one that says, hey, I am really good at making sure I get all my schoolwork done and study, but I'm really bad at working on my lines for the school play, or making sure I practice my instrument, or really having any type of energy left over whatsoever from my practices at the end of the day. Now, you may be in the other bucket over here, and you may be really good at making sure that you get to all your rehearsals and all your practices, and because you enjoy it, but oftentimes you forget to study and your grades start slipping. Or you may be in this third bucket where you're really good at checking all the boxes, but at the end of the day, you have to stay up late just to get some type of time for yourself. By the way, this is called revenge bedtime procrastination. Sounds ridiculous, it's a real thing. So no matter what bucket you fall in, you have to understand that we are still bound by the 24 hours in the day that everybody is bound by. The old saying goes, what gets measured gets managed. So in this case, we're actually measuring our schedule. We're measuring our time. And what you're going to implore now is something called a zero-based schedule. And this may sound ridiculous, but hear me out. You're going to schedule every minute of every day. You're going to schedule the time you sleep, you're going to schedule the time you eat, you're going to schedule the time you get ready for school and study and everything, because when you figure out all of your hours of the day and how they're actually spent, well, then you're going to figure out the gaps and the holes you have in your schedule to be able to actually have an hour to watch TV or have an half hour to scroll on TikTok, whatever it may be. And I actually encourage you to schedule that, because at the end of the day, it's going to happen anyway. We have to have some type of escapism in our life. So using this zero-based scheduling method, at the end of the day, if you have gaps in your schedule, then you're going to be able to fill in with whatever you choose. If you feel like you need another hour studying for math, well, then that goes at 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock on Monday. If you feel like you need some more downtime, well, then at 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock on Thursday, you get an extra hour to, game, whatever it may be. But I promise you, by having a full schedule with all the things that you actually want to do and need to do, you're going to realize that you actually do have the time. Now, when I was in high school, I was really busy with all the arts. I was in theater, I was in music, I was in jazz band, concert band, wind ensemble, symphony orchestra, you name it. Not only that, I was in a peer mentoring group, as well as using the school gym to work out and lift weights. So I kind of had a little bit of a decent spread of all different types of activities. Yes, it leaned a little bit more towards the arts, but I often found myself at the end of the day completely drained. 9 o'clock at night when I got home from a rehearsal, I told myself that's when I was going to do homework, but the problem was I was shot. What I didn't do was think about my physical and mental energy levels. So if you tell yourself that you're going to, study after a scrimmage or a practice at the end of the day, and you find yourself that you're oftentimes missing that study session or falling asleep on your books, well, because you're not prioritizing your physical and or mental energy levels. But again, if you have your zero-based schedule, you might be able to find that, hey, you know what? I actually have a half an hour while I'm waiting for the late bus at the end of the day, where I can just sit down by myself away from everybody and actually just get some extra studying in at that point. So number 2, be cognizant about your physical and your mental energy levels. Another reason that I had a really hard time balancing all the things in high school that I was doing was because of the fact that my parents would ask me to do chores at the most weird, terrible times possible. It was almost like they didn't even care what I had going on. On a Saturday afternoon, I had a big concert coming up next week, so I was planning on practicing. My mom walks in the door and is like, hey, you gotta help your stepdad with some rocks and dirt, and like you have to dig a hole. I can't even tell you how many holes I have dug. I know that sounds like some weird like gangster. It was just weird. So many rocks, so many holes. Hey, you gotta help your stepdad with this trench. We're taking out the cesspool and we're gonna be digging all day. What? No, I had a schedule. I had things that I needed to do. So if you find it where your parents are also asking you to do chores and things around the house, and it feels like they don't even care about your life and the schedule that you have going on, well, it's actually not their fault. It's kind of our fault, because what we need to do is we need to be much better at communication. We really need to talk with our parents and say, hey, this is what I got for the week. I know that it doesn't seem like I have anything on this schedule on Saturday, but I actually have to practice. I have to do this. And then I'm going to help at blah, 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 whatever it may be. You have to talk to your parents about what you have going on in your life. So again, number one, make a zero-based schedule. No gaps, fill in everything that you need to do, and then you'll find the time for everything that you want to do. Number two, make sure you're minding your physical and your mental energy. Try to build your schedule somewhat around that. And number three, make sure you communicate. Really make sure you're talking with the people in your life and your household to make sure that they know what you have going on. So I want to hear the weirdest, most terrible types of chores and requests that your parents have asked you to do at the worst possible times. I want to hear them in the comments below. Now, if you feel the passion coming from me, it's because I'm really, really obsessed with extracurricular activities. It made my high school career the best it possibly was. The memories that I have from all of those things that I've done in high school were so special to me. And you could probably get a little bit more of a back-end story and a back-end insight into those extracurriculars if you watch this video right over here.